My beloved child, listen carefully, because this moment is not random, and your presence here is not an accident. Archangel Michael steps forward, now with urgency in his voice and fire in his eyes. He says someone has been working against you in secret. Quietly, strategically, patiently, while you were trying to survive, while you were praying, while you were minding your own life. There was a hidden hand moving in the shadows. And hear this clearly, their plan has reached its final seconds. This is not a message for everyone. This is for the one who felt an unexplainable heaviness lately, for the one who sensed resistance without seeing the source, for the one who kept asking, why does it feel like something is blocking me? Archangel Michael says the countdown has begun. Minutes, not days. Moments, not months. And one decision, a single choice you make right now, has the power to stop everything that was designed to harm you. Beloved, do not dismiss this as imagination. The spiritual realm has been active around you. Conversations you never heard, intentions never spoken to your face, plans formed while you slept. Archangel Michael reveals that the enemy did not rush. They waited for you to grow tired. They waited for distraction. They waited for doubt. And now, at what they believed was a perfect time, they moved their final piece. But here is the shock. They did not see this interruption coming. Archangel Michael says, if this message reached you, the plan has already been exposed. Exposure is power. Light dismantles secrecy. And the reason you were guided here is because heaven refuses to let you be harmed in silence. What was whispered in darkness is now being dragged into the light. You may not yet know who it is. Do not force names. Do not accuse. Do not panic. The revelation will come naturally. Archangel Michael warns you not to react emotionally, because emotion is exactly what the enemy hoped for. They wanted confusion. They wanted fear. They wanted you to act prematurely. But wisdom is your weapon now. This is where the decision comes in. Archangel Michael says there is a choice before you. Subtle, simple, but powerful. You can either ignore this warning and continue, as usual, or you can align yourself consciously with divine protection right now. This choice does not require confrontation. It does not require exposure on your part. It requires awareness, stillness, and obedience. Something is about to end. Either their plan ends, where the cycle continues. Beloved child, notice the signs around you. Sudden delays. Unusual silence from certain people. A strange feeling when you think about a specific situation. These are not coincidences. These are red flags being lifted before the trap fully closes. Archangel Michael says the enemy underestimated your spiritual covering. They thought you were isolated. They thought you were unprotected. They were wrong. You are not weak. You are watched over. Right now, Archangel Michael is standing guard. Sword drawn. Shield raised. But he cannot override your free will. Heaven responds to alignment. This is why you were brought here, to become aware before damage could be done. Awareness collapses the plan. Do not speak this message out loud to people around you yet. Guard it. Let it settle. Let clarity rise. The enemy feeds on leaks, but heaven moves in silence. There is divine intelligence being released to you now, not panic, not paranoia, but discernment. If you feel your heart beating faster, that is not fear, that is recognition. Your spirit knows this is real. Your soul remembers past battles where you barely survive it, and now understands why. Archangel Michael says this time will be different, because this time you are warned before the strike. And hear this carefully. The person working against you believes they are about to succeed. They believe time is on their side. They believe you are unaware. That false confidence is their weakness. The moment you choose alignment, their plan collapses like a house with no foundation. Beloved, do not rush. Do not overthink. Just stay present. The next revelation builds on this one, and what you are about to hear next will clarify exactly how this ends and why it cannot touch you. My precious one, hear this with clarity and calm. What Archangel Michael is revealing now is not meant to frighten you, but to position you. There is a reason the warning came before the impact. There is a reason the timing feels intense. Heaven never speaks too early and never too late. Right now, you are standing in the narrow space between exposure and collapse, and what you do in this window matters more than you realize. Archangel Michael says the one working against you believed they had control because they studied you. They watched patterns. They noticed when you stayed silent. They assumed your kindness was weakness and your patience was ignorance. But they failed to understand one thing. You are protected in ways that do not announce themselves. Protection does not always look loud. Sometimes it looks like delays, detours, and divine interruptions that make no sense until later. This is why the plan could not move forward cleanly. Something kept going wrong for them. Small miscalculations, unexpected resistance, a feeling that time was slipping. That frustration you felt in your own life was actually the echo of their pressure collapsing. You were not losing ground. You were forcing exposure without even knowing it. Archangel Michael now urges you to guard your words. Not everyone needs access to your thoughts in this season. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. The enemy listens for reactions. They wait for emotional responses to confirm they are still hidden. When you stay composed, when you do not react the way they expect, confusion enters their camp. You may feel tempted to confront, to explain, to demand clarity. Resist that urge. Heaven is already arranging clarity that does not require your effort. Archangel Michael says truth is about to surface on its own. Documents, conversations, behavior patterns, sudden revelations, all aligning without you pushing a single door. There is also something important you must hear about timing. The phrase "minutes left" does not always mean a literal clock. It means the final phase, the last movement before exposure, the moment where intention turns into action. That is why awareness now is crucial. When light enters at the final stage, the entire structure collapses because it was built on secrecy. Beloved, this is where your decision becomes active. Your decision is not about attacking. It is about alignment. Choosing peace over panic. Trust over control. Discernment over assumption. This decision sends a signal into the spiritual realm that you are not available for manipulation. Archangel Michael says something powerful happens when you choose alignment. Angels are reassigned. Yes, reassigned. What was passive protection becomes active defense. What was observation becomes intervention. This is not poetic language. This is spiritual law. Heaven responds to awareness. Notice how your intuition had been sharpening. How certain people suddenly feel off. How certain situations no longer sit right with you. That is not coincidence. That is training. You are being taught how to recognize energy before it speaks. And now listen carefully. This is also a moment of responsibility. Once you are aware, you cannot pretend you are not. You not go back into autopilot. You not dismiss signs. Do not silence your inner knowing to keep peace with people who benefit from your confusion. Archangel Michael says this is a moment where maturity protects destiny. Reacting would satisfy emotion, but restraint secures victory. You do not need to prove anything. Truth does not need defense when heaven is backing it. As you receive this message, you are not just being warned, you are being repositioned. The plan against you is ending not because the enemy gave up, but because it had been seen. Exposure is irreversible. Once light enters, nothing can return to how it was. If this message is resonating, this is the moment to anchor it. Like this video so the message reaches others who are unknowingly standing in the same window of decision. Share it with someone who needs discernment right now. Comment your agreement. Even a simple word of affirmation creates spiritual alignment. Subscribe to the channel and join the community, because these messages are not random drops. They are part of a covering. If membership is available to you, step into it as a way of staying connected to consistent spiritual insight. Hold on, because what comes next reveals the unexpected way the situation resolves, and why the one who worked in secret will not be able to touch your future the way they planned. My beloved one, what unfolds now is the turning point you could not see before. Archangel Michael speaks again, but this time his tone is calm, steady, unshaken. He says the danger was never meant to destroy you outright. It was designed to drain you slowly, to confuse your timing, to make you question your own discernment. That is why it felt subtle. That is why it felt personal. And that is why exposure at this moment is so devastating to the one who worked in secret. Here is what they did not anticipate. They assumed your awareness would come too late. They believed you would realize the truth only after damage was done. But heaven rearranged the order. You were warned before impact, not after. This reverses everything. Archangel Michael reveals that the moment you became aware, something invisible but powerful shifted. Their authority over the situation weakened. Their confidence cracked. Plans that once felt solid now feel unstable to them. They are beginning to sense that something is wrong, even if they cannot explain it. That inner unrest they are feeling is not guilt alone. It is the collapse of false control. Beloved, you must understand this clearly. You were never meant to fight this battle directly. This was never about confrontation. This was about positioning. When heaven positions you correctly, battles end without noise. You walk away untouched while others face the consequences of their own intentions. Archangel Michael says the trap fails because it requires your participation. It needs your reaction, your fear, your impulsive move. Without that, it has no power. This is why calm is your shield right now. The more composed you remain, the faster the plan dissolves. You may notice sudden changes around you. People exposing themselves without being questioned. Situations resolving in ways that feel unexpected. Opportunities appearing right where resistance once existed. These are not rewards by chance. These are signs that protection has shifted into enforcement. There is also a deeper layer to this warning. The one working against you was not only motivated by jealousy or control. They were reacting to something they sensed about your future. Archangel Michael says they felt threatened by what you are becoming, not by who you were. Your growth activated insecurity in them. Your next season scared them. This is why the plan had urgency. This is why it had a deadline. They believe if they did not act now, they would lose their influence over you permanently. And they were right. But not in the way they expected. Beloved child, your future is protected. Not because it is fragile, but because it carries weight. What is coming for you requires clarity, not chaos. Strength, not survival mode. Heaven intervened because distraction would have delayed what is already aligned. Archangel Michael now instructs you to do one thing internally. Release the need to understand every detail. Full knowledge is not required for full protection. Trust is. Peace is. Obedience is. When you let go of the urge to control the narrative, you allow heaven to close the chapter cleanly. Do not look back at what almost happened. Do not replay scenarios. Do not imagine outcomes that no longer exist. The door is closing as you listen. The countdown is ending, and it is ending in your favor. What was meant to corner you will now expose them. What was meant to silence you will now elevate you. What was meant to confuse you will now sharpen your discernment permanently. This is not just a rescue. This is an upgrade. Archangel Michael says, remember this moment. Remember how awareness saved you. Carry this lesson forward. You will never again ignore intuition the way you once did. You will never again doubt divine nudges. This experience becomes wisdom. And hear this final reassurance. You are not late. You are not behind. You did not miss anything. Timing is aligning now with precision. The delay was protection. The interruption was mercy. If your spirit feels settled as you hear this, that is confirmation. Peace is the signature of divine alignment. Let it anchor you. Type I am divinely protected in the comments if this message confirms what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 913 has just been released. And now hear this carefully, because this is not separate from the message you just received. As Archangel Michael exposes hidden plans and rescues souls before the fall, this word is also reaching others who are still unaware of the danger around them. I am speaking directly to you now. When you give, you are placing oil in the lamp that keeps this light burning. Scripture says the one who sows generously will reap generously, and this is not theory. It is a living promise speaking over your obedience right now. Your support becomes a shield for someone else who needs warning before impact. This is a prophetic moment to act, not later, not someday. As you release through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, the heavens recognize it as alignment, not donation. I bless every giver with clarity, protection, and multiplied peace. Obey the nudge, support the mission now, and let this river of truth keep flowing. Beloved soul, as this message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael now draws your attention away from the past danger and toward what is being restored within you. The threat may be dissolving, but the lesson remains active. Heaven does not simply rescue and move on. It rebuilds, strengthens, and repositions. What you are entering now is not recovery mode. It is recalibration. Archangel Michael says that after exposure comes realignment. When a hidden plan is interrupted, it leaves behind spiritual residue, doubt, hypervigilance, emotional fatigue. These are subtle, but they matter. This is why heaven is now tending to your inner state. You were protected externally, yes, but now your spirit is being steadied internally so you do not carry the weight of a battle you were never meant to fight alone. You may feel unusually reflective right now. Thoughts are surfacing, memories replaying, questions about past choices and relationships rising without warning. Do not resist this. This is not regression. This is integration. Your spirit is sorting what belongs in the future and what must stay behind. Archangel Michael says clarity always follows confrontation with truth, even when that confrontation is silent. There is something powerful happening in your discernment. Where you once second-guessed yourself, you will now pause with confidence. Where you once over-explained, you will now speak selectively. Where you once rushed decisions, you will now wait until peace confirms the next step. This is not caution born of fear. This is wisdom born of experience. Beloved, understand this. The enemy's plan did not fail because they were weak. It failed because you were covered. And that covering is not temporary. It expands when you learn from what almost happened. Archangel Michael says this experience has activated a new layer of spiritual awareness in you. You will notice inconsistencies faster. You will sense motives sooner. You will no longer need proof to trust your intuition. There is also restoration taking place in areas you did not even associate with the attack. Energy returns. Motivation stabilizes. Sleep becomes deeper. Focus sharpens. These are signs that the pressure you were under is lifting. You were carrying tension that did not originate with you. Now it is being released. Do not be surprised if certain people begin to distance themselves without explanation. This is not loss. This is alignment. When deception is exposed in the spiritual realm, separation follows naturally in the physical. Some connections cannot survive clarity, and that is not your burden to manage. Archangel Michael says you are being repositioned socially, emotionally, and spiritually. The circle around you will become smaller but stronger. Fewer voices, clearer direction. Less noise, more purpose. This is intentional. Reduction often looks like subtraction before expansion. You may also sense a renewed sense of authority in your voice. Not loudness, but firmness. Not aggression, but certainty. This is because fear has lost leverage. When fear leaves, authority returns to its rightful place. Beloved child, do not rush to fill the quiet that follows this shift. Silence is fertile ground. It is where strategy forms, where healing completes, where confidence settles. Archangel Michael urges you to resist the urge to distract yourself from stillness. What feels empty at first is actually being prepared. This season marks the end of reacting and the beginning of responding. Reaction is instinctive and emotional. Response is intentional and grounded. You are moving from survival awareness into leadership awareness. Not leadership over people, but leadership over your own inner world. There will be moments where you realize just how close the danger came. Do not dwell there. Gratitude is the correct response, not fear. Thankfulness seals protection. Panic reopens doors. You are safe now, and safety must be acknowledged for peace to fully settle. Archangel Michael says something important is ahead, and it requires you to be clear-headed. This interruption was not just about stopping harm. It was about ensuring readiness. What is coming next requires trust in yourself and trust in divine timing. You cannot enter it carrying suspicion or exhaustion. If you feel lighter even as you listen, that is not imagination. That is release. The heaviness that once sat on your chest is lifting. The mental loops are slowing. The urgency is dissolving. This is the evidence of intervention completed. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. You are not moving backward. You are stabilizing before acceleration. And as this message continues, what comes next will reveal how this entire experience was not only protection, but preparation for a door that could not open until this threat was removed. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now shifts your focus forward, because protection without direction would leave you standing still. What was intercepted behind you is no longer relevant, but what is opening ahead of you requires awareness of a different kind. This is where many people stumble. They survive danger but fail to recognize opportunity. Heaven does not want that for you. Archangel Michael says the reason the attack was subtle is because the assignment on your life is also subtle, yet powerful. You are not called to loud chaos or reckless visibility. You are called to influence, stability, and presence. The enemy sensed this long before you did. They recognize your potential to disrupt patterns simply by being steady, by being consistent, by being aligned. That is why resistance came quietly, not aggressively. Now that the interference is removed, you may feel a strange mixture of relief and uncertainty. Relief because the pressure is gone. Uncertainty because the struggle you adapted to is no longer there. This is normal. Your nervous system is recalibrating to peace. Do not confuse unfamiliar calm with danger. Peace can feel strange when you are used to tension. Archangel Michael reminds you that peace is not the absence of movement. It is the absence of threat. Movement will return, but it will be purposeful instead of reactive. The next steps in your life will not require urgency. They will require clarity. Pay attention to what no longer drains you. Situations that once exhausted you may suddenly feel neutral or irrelevant. This is a sign that emotional hooks have been removed. The enemy often works by tying your energy to outcomes that are not yours to carry. Those ties are being cut. You may also notice a stronger boundary forming inside you. Not walls, but lines you will not cross anymore. You will no longer chase explanations. You will no longer seek validation from those who benefit from your doubt. This boundary is not bitterness. It is self-respect reinforced by divine insight. Archangel Michael says this is the season where you stop explaining your decisions to people who are not responsible for your future. Explanation is only necessary when there is shared responsibility. Otherwise, it becomes leakage. Guarding your energy is now part of your calling. There is also an invitation being extended to you, quietly, gently, without pressure. An invitation to step into something that aligns with who you are becoming, not who you were. This may come as an idea, a conversation, an opportunity, or an inner nudge that keeps returning. Do not ignore it. This invitation could not come until the previous threat was removed. Beloved, timing matters. If this door had opened earlier, the interference would have contaminated it. If it opened later, you would have missed the momentum. This is why everything unfolded exactly when it did. Precision is not accidental. Archangel Michael cautions you not to announce your next move prematurely. Let it take shape first. Let it root. Let it stabilize. Some things grow best in hidden places before they are revealed. Protection often continues through privacy. You are also being taught discernment in celebration. Not everyone needs access to your joy. Not everyone claps with clean hands. This does not mean you become suspicious of everyone. It means you become selective with intimacy. There is a difference. As you move forward, you may feel a deeper connection to your intuition than ever before. That inner voice will become clearer, quicker, calmer. It will not shout. It will not rush. It will simply know. Trust it. It has been sharpened through experience. Archangel Michael says you are no longer in a defensive posture. You are transitioning into an active season of alignment. This means your decisions will feel lighter even when they are serious. Fear will no longer be the motivator. Peace will be. There is one more thing you must release, the need to prove that you were right about the danger. Vindication is tempting but unnecessary. Truth has a way of standing on its own. Your job is not to convince others of what you sensed. Your job is to live free because you listened. Beloved child, the chapter that almost harmed you is closing fully now. You not carry its language into the next one. Speak differently about yourself. Think differently about your future. Expect differently from life. It's a dangerous experience. What comes next will feel steady, not dramatic. Secure, not chaotic. quietly powerful. This is how lasting change arrives. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks with firm reassurance, because this phase is about strengthening what has been restored. Protection was activated. Alignment was secured. Opportunity has been revealed. Now comes stabilization. This is the stage where many people unknowingly reopen doors by doubting the calm they prayed for. Heaven wants you anchored, not drifting between trust and suspicion. Archangel Michael says the mind often lags behind the spirit. Your spirit already knows you are safe, but your thoughts may still scan for danger out of habit. This does not mean something is wrong. It means you are unlearning survival patterns. Be patient with yourself. Healing is not forgetting what happened. It is no longer living as if it is still happening. You may notice moments where you expect resistance and it does not appear. Where you prepare for conflict and instead receive cooperation. Where you brace for disappointment and instead experience ease. Do not question these moments. Receive them. Peace is not a trick. It is evidence that intervention has done its work. Archangel Michael reminds you that vigilance does not require anxiety. Awareness can exist without fear. You are not being asked to lower discernment. You are being asked to release tension. There is a difference. Tension exhausts you. Discernment strengthens you. This is also a season of emotional honesty. You are allowed to acknowledge that what all has happened affected you. Strength is not pretending you were untouched. Strength is letting truth pass through you without letting it define you. Speak gently to yourself. You navigated something complex with grace, even if you did not understand it fully at the time. Beloved, your relationships will now adjust to the new version of you. Some people will feel closer. Others may feel distant. This is not punishment or reward. It is resonance. You are tuning into a different frequency, and not everyone can move there with you. Do not force harmony where alignment no longer exists. Archangel Michael says there is a temptation in this phase to overcorrect, to become overly guarded, to question every intention. Resist that pull. Wisdom does not require walls. It requires clarity. You do not need to protect yourself from everyone. You only need to stay honest with your intuition. There will be moments where you are tested, not by danger, but by opportunity. Choices that look good but feel rushed. Invitations that flatter the ego but unsettle the spirit. Remember what you learned. Peace confirms direction. Pressure distorts it. If something pulls you out of calm, pause. Heaven never rushes alignment. Beloved child, you are also stepping into a quieter confidence. You will notice that you speak less but mean more. You will explain less and act more. This is not withdrawal. This is authority settling in. When you know who you are, you no longer need constant confirmation. Archangel Michael says gratitude is now a powerful stabilizer for you. Not performative gratitude, but quiet acknowledgement. Thankfulness keeps you present. It reminds your nervous system that the threat has passed. Each time you acknowledge safety, you reinforce it. As this message continues to reach you, this is also a moment to strengthen the community that gathers around this word. Like this video so the message stays visible to those who need it at the right time. Share it with someone who may be sensing unseen resistance and needs clarity. Comment what resonated with you, because your words often confirm what others are afraid to trust. Subscribe to the channel so you stay connected to these timely messages, and if membership is available to you, step into it as a way of remaining under consistent spiritual insight and covering. Hold on, because what comes next brings an unexpected revelation, one that reframes this entire experience and shows you why the delay, the exposure, and the interruption were all preparing you for something far more specific than you imagined. Beloved, you are not standing in uncertainty anymore. You are standing in transition. And transition, when guided, is not dangerous. It is sacred. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now draws your awareness to a truth that was hidden beneath everything you experienced. What looked like an isolated threat was actually a signal that your life is entering a phase where opposition no longer comes from chaos, but from significance. When you were overlooked, there was little resistance. Now that your presence carries weight, subtle forces tried to interfere. Archangel Michael says this is how you know growth is real. Resistance changes its strategy. It becomes quieter, smarter, more concealed. Not because you are weak, but because you are becoming influential in ways you may not yet recognize. Influence is not always public. Sometimes it is spiritual. Sometimes it is emotional. Sometimes it is simply the way your steadiness disrupts dysfunction around you. You were not targeted because of what you were doing wrong. You were targeted because of what you were doing right without even trying. Your integrity became inconvenient. Your consistency became threatening. Your ability to remain grounded challenged systems that relied on confusion. This is why the warning came when it did. Not to scare you, but to mature you. Heaven is not interested in keeping you sheltered forever. It is interested in making you discerning enough to walk freely without fear. What you just experienced was training, not punishment. Archangel Michael reveals that many people reach this stage but never realize it. They misinterpret subtle resistance as personal failure. They internalize what was never theirs to carry. You did not. You listen. That alone separates you. Beloved, there is a strengthening happening in your spiritual posture. You are learning how to stand without bracing, how to observe without absorbing, how to care without entanglement. These are advanced skills. They are not taught through ease. They are refined through awareness. You may notice now that situations which once pulled emotional reactions from you no longer do. Not because you are numb, but because you are regulated. Regulation is power. It means you can stay present without losing yourself. This is essential for what is ahead. Archangel Michael says the next season of your life requires discernment without suspicion, confidence without arrogance, authority without aggression. These balances are delicate, and you are being trained to hold them naturally. There is also a release happening at the identity level. You are no longer defining yourself by what you've survived. Survival was a chapter, not the title of your life. Strength is no longer about endurance alone. It is about direction. Beloved child, notice how your prayers are changing. You are asking fewer desperate questions and making more grounded requests. This is evidence of trust settling in. Trust is not blind faith. It is confidence born of experience. You saw intervention work. You saw clarity arrive. You saw peace return. And now you trust the process more deeply. Archangel Michael says there is something important you must not do in this phase. Do not shrink to keep others comfortable. Sometimes after danger passes, people unconsciously minimize themselves to avoid attention. This is unnecessary. You do not need to hide to be safe. You are safe because you are aligned. At the same time, you are not being asked to perform or prove anything. Simply be present. Be honest. Be consistent. That is enough. Presence is more powerful than performance. You may feel a growing sense of purpose that is hard to articulate. A feeling that your life is about to become more intentional. This does not mean dramatic changes overnight. It means alignment accumulating quietly until action becomes obvious. Archangel Michael says your patience is about to be rewarded, but not in the way you imagined. The reward is not just outcome. It is stability. It is clarity. It is peace that does not evaporate under pressure. Beloved, you are stepping into a season where your inner world matters more than external validation. Decisions will be guided from within, not pulled from outside demands. This is freedom. There will still be challenges, but they will not shake your foundation. You will meet them differently now. With calm, with discernment, with authority that does not need to announce itself. As this message settles, take a moment to acknowledge how far you have come. Not in comparison to others, but in comparison to who you were before awareness arrived. Growth is not always loud. Sometimes it is simply quieter chaos. Archangel Michael stands with you still. Not because danger remains, but because guidance continues. Redemption has become companionship. And what comes next will feel less like rescue and more like direction. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings your attention to the deeper reason this entire sequence unfolded the way it did. This was never only about stopping something negative. It was about awakening something powerful within you. Protection was a doorway, but purpose is the destination. What you are stepping into now requires a clearer sense of identity than you have ever carried before. Archangel Michael says you are entering a season where discernment becomes instinct, not effort. You will no longer need long explanations to understand what is aligned and what is not. Your spirit will recognize truth, the way your body recognizes warmth. This clarity is not accidental. It is the result of obedience, awareness, and restraint during a moment when reaction would have been easier. You may now notice that your tolerance for confusion has dropped. Situations that once lingered unresolved will either clarify quickly or fall away. This is not impatience. It is alignment. When clarity becomes your standard, chaos cannot negotiate with you anymore. Beloved, the exposure that took place was not meant to embarrass anyone publicly, but it was meant to free you privately. There is a difference. Freedom does not always require confrontation. Sometimes it requires separation, quiet distance, clean boundaries, peaceful disengagement. This is what is happening now. Archangel Michael reveals that what almost touched you was allowed to come close only so you would recognize your authority. Authority is not learned in safety alone. It is realized at the edge of threat. Now that you know you can stand without panic, you will never doubt yourself the same way again. This is also a season of refinement in how you give your energy. You will become more intentional with time, attention, and emotion. Not withdrawn but deliberate. Not cold but wise. This refinement is essential because what is coming next requires sustainability, not burnout. Beloved child, hear this clearly. You are not meant to carry everyone with you into your next season. Some connections would temporary shelters, not permanent dwellings. Gratitude does not require continuation. You are allowed to honor the past without reliving it. Archangel Michael says peace is now your compass. If something demands that you abandon peace to obtain it, it is not aligned. This does not mean every aligned thing feels easy, but it will feel steady. Pressure that rushes you is not divine. Guidance that grounds you is. You may also experience moments of unexpected joy. Small things feeling meaningful again. Laughter coming easier. Rest feeling deeper. These are signs that your nervous system is releasing survival mode. You are not losing alertness. You are gaining balance. Beloved, there is an assignment ahead that requires you to be present, not preoccupied. This is why distractions were removed. This is why interference was exposed. Focus is being restored to you. With focus comes effectiveness. Archangel Michael says you will soon look back on this moment and realize it was the line between old cycles and new rhythms. The difference will not be dramatic at first. It will be subtle, but it will be consistent. Consistency is how lasting transformation announces itself. Do not rush to label what you are becoming. Let it unfold. Labels can limit. Experience expands. Trust that what is emerging in you knows where it is going. If your spirit feels settled as you hear this, that is confirmation. When truth lands, it does not agitate. It angers. Type "I walk in discernment" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1448 is now activated. And now receive this as part of the same divine flow. This word is not reaching you alone. It is traveling to others who are standing at the same crossroads, unaware that minutes mattered. I am speaking directly to you now. When you support this mission, you are sowing light into moments where darkness depends on secrecy. The word says those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and this promise is alive right now, speaking over your obedience. Your giving becomes a prophetic response, not a transaction. As you release through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you help keep this warning flowing to souls who need it before the door closes. I declare blessing over every giver, clarity in decisions, peace in timing, and protection in unseen places. Do not delay what your spirit already knows. Act now. Support the mission, and let heaven mark your obedience with increase. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now invites you into a deeper layer of understanding, because what you are walking through is no longer about warning or recovery. It is about embodiment. You are not just learning truths, you are becoming someone who lives from them. This is the stage where insight turns into instinct, and instinct turns into authority. Archangel Michael says many people receive messages, but few allow those messages to reshape how they move through life. You are different. You did not just hear the warning, you adjusted. You did not just acknowledge protection, you aligned with it. That alignment is now settling into your daily rhythms, quietly, but permanently. You may notice that your reactions are slower, but your decisions are sharper. You pause more, yet you hesitate less. This is not contradiction. This is integration. Your mind and spirit are beginning to work together instead of competing for control. Where there was once inner noise, there is now inner order. Beloved, this is where confidence becomes natural. Not the loud confidence that needs to be seen, but the grounded confidence that does not need validation. You will find yourself less affected by other people's moods, opinions, or expectations. Not because you do not care, but because you are no longer dependent on external approval to feel secure. Archangel Michael says this inner stability is essential for what lies ahead. You are entering a phase where you will be trusted with responsibility, not necessarily public responsibility, but personal stewardship. Stewardship of time, stewardship of energy, stewardship of influence. These are quiet responsibilities, but they shape outcomes more than visible titles ever could. There is also healing happening at the level of trust. Not blind trust in others, but restored trust in yourself. You will begin to rely on your discernment without needing constant reassurance. This self-trust does not make you isolated. It makes you clear. Beloved child, clarity changes how you engage with the world. You will speak more directly, but with kindness. You will say no without guilt. You will say yes without fear. These are signs of maturity, not hardness. Archangel Michael reveals that the season of second guessing is ending. You have gathered enough evidence through experience to know that your intuition is reliable when you are grounded. Doubt no longer has the same grip because you have seen what happens when you listen. This does not mean life becomes effortless. It means effort becomes intentional. You will no longer waste energy proving, defending, or fixing what is not yours to carry. That alone will feel like freedom. You may also feel a subtle shift in how you relate to your past. Memories that once carried emotional charge may now feel neutral. Lessons remain, but pain loses volume. This is healing, integrating, not erasing. You are not forgetting where you came from. You are no longer living there. Archangel Michael says there is something sacred about this phase. It is quiet, but it is powerful. It is the space where character solidifies, where habits align with values, where you stop performing and start being. Beloved, resist the urge to rush this stage. Transformation that is rushed becomes unstable. What is being built in you now needs time to settle. Let it root deeply. Let it become part of how you breathe, think, and choose. You may notice that some ambitions are changing. Goals that once mattered may lose their appeal, while new desires surface that feel more aligned, but harder to explain. This is not confusion. This is refinement. Your values are reorganizing around truth rather than expectation. Archangel Michael says this is how purpose clarifies, not through pressure, but through alignment. When you are aligned, the next step becomes obvious without force. There is also an invitation here to rest differently. Not escape, but restoration. Rest that renews focus rather than numbs emotion. You are learning how to pause without guilt. This is a sign of security. Beloved child, you are no longer living in reaction to unseen threats. You are living from awareness. Awareness changes everything. It allows you to move forward without constantly looking over your shoulder. As this message settles, you may feel a sense of readiness without urgency. That is the correct posture. Readiness does not rush. It waits with confidence. Archangel Michael remains present, not as a guard at the door, but as a guide on the path. The danger has passed. The lesson has landed. The integration is ongoing. What comes next will not feel like a warning. It will feel like direction. And you will recognize it not by fear, but by peace. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks with precision, because this phase is about conscious movement. You are no longer reacting to what almost happened. You are choosing how you move forward with intention. Awareness has matured into wisdom, and wisdom is asking you to participate actively in shaping what comes next. There is a subtle but important shift happening in you. You are no longer waiting for confirmation from the outside world before you trust what you sense inside. This does not make you rigid. It makes you rooted. Roots allow growth without collapse. Archangel Michael says many people receive clarity but do not anchor it. You are anchoring it now through consistent choices. You may notice that certain options no longer excite you the way they once did. Paths that used to look attractive now feel hollow. This is not loss of ambition. It is alignment filtering desire. When your inner world stabilizes, misaligned opportunities lose their shine. Beloved, this is also a season where your words carry more weight than before. Not because you speak more, but because you speak from a place of integration. When you say yes, it is grounded. When you say no, it is final. This clarity may surprise people who were used to negotiating your boundaries. Let them adjust. You are not being difficult. You are being honest. Archangel Michael says something powerful is forming in your decision-making. You are beginning to choose based on peace rather than urgency. This single change will protect you from repeating old cycles. Urgency often disguises fear. Peace confirms direction. You may still encounter moments of doubt, but they will pass more quickly now. Doubt no longer has a foundation to stand on. You have lived through intervention. You have witnessed alignment. Experience has replaced theory. Beloved child, there is also a call here to remain engaged, not isolated. Growth does not mean withdrawal from community. It means choosing the right community. Messages like this reach you not only for personal clarity, but to keep you connected to a flow of insight that sharpens discernment over time. This is why staying connected matters. Like this video so the message continues reaching those who need it in the exact moment of decision. Share it with someone who may be sensing resistance but cannot yet name it. Comment what stood out to you, because your words often unlock courage in others. Subscribe to the channel so you remain aligned with these timely messages, and if membership is available to you, step into it as a way of staying consistently grounded in spiritual clarity. Archangel Michael reminds you that awareness grows stronger when it is reinforced. What you feed grows. What you ignore weakens. Staying connected to truth keeps discernment sharp. There is also a reminder here not to romanticize struggle. You are not meant to prove strength by enduring unnecessary resistance. Strength now looks like choosing ease when it aligns, choosing rest when it restores, choosing distance when it protects peace. Beloved, the next steps in your life will not require dramatic leaps. They will require consistent alignment. Small choices made with clarity compound into major shifts over time. This is how sustainable transformation happens. Archangel Michael says be mindful of impatience in this phase. When things begin to stabilize, the mind sometimes looks for stimulation. Do not confuse boredom with misalignment. Sometimes calm feels unfamiliar because chaos was once normal. Let calm become your new normal. You may also feel a growing sense of responsibility for your inner state. This is maturity. You are no longer outsourcing emotional regulation to circumstances or people. You are owning it. This ownership is liberating. Beloved child, notice how your prayers are now less reactive and more intentional. You are not asking to be saved from everything. You are asking to be guided through what matters. This shift is significant. Archangel Michael says this is the stage where many people look back and realize that the warning was a gift. You are now equipped with discernment that cannot be taken from you. Hold on, because what comes next brings a final layer of understanding, one that connects every part of this journey and shows you how this experience positioned you not just for safety, but for purpose. Remain present. Remain grounded. You are not waiting for clarity anymore. You are walking in it. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now speaks from a place of completion, because you are approaching the moment where understanding becomes settled truth. What once felt fragmented is now forming a clear picture. The warning, the interruption, the stillness, the clarity, none of it stood alone. Each piece was necessary to bring you into this posture of readiness. Archangel Michael says there is a difference between being prepared and being positioned. Preparation teaches you what to do. Positioning determines where you stand when opportunity arrives. You are no longer only prepared. You are positioned. This is why things around you feel quieter but more intentional. Noise has been removed so direction can be heard. You may notice that your sense of time has shifted. You are less anxious about what is next and more attentive to what is now. This is not complacency. It is presence. Presence is where discernment functions best. When you are fully present, you do not miss subtle signals. You do not rush past wisdom. Beloved, the season you are entering requires this level of presence. You will be trusted with moments that require discernment in real time, not hindsight. This is my reflection has deepened and impulsiveness has faded. You are learning to respond from awareness rather than habit. Archangel Michael says there is also a settling happening in your identity. You are no longer defining yourself by reaction, resilience, or recovery. Those were necessary chapters, but they are not your name. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is calm without being passive, confident without being forceful, aware without being guarded. This balance is rare, and it is valuable. You may feel less drawn to extremes now, less interested in dramatic highs or lows. This is not a loss of passion. It is the refinement of it. Passion rooted in peace lasts longer than passion fueled by urgency. Beloved child, notice how your boundaries now feel natural rather than defensive. You are not pushing people away. You are simply standing in truth. When truth is cleared, boundaries do not require explanation. They simply exist. Archangel Michael reveals that this entire experience trains you to trust subtle guidance. In the future, not every warning will come with intensity. Some will arrive as gentle discomfort, some as quiet hesitation, some as a simple lack of peace. You will recognize these signals now. You have learned their language. There is also a deepening trust forming between you and divine timing. You no longer feel the need to force outcomes. You understand now that interruption can be protection, delay can be alignment, and silence can be instruction. This trust changes how you wait. Waiting no longer feels like stagnation. It feels like readiness. Beloved, you are also releasing the need to explain your growth to people who did not witness the process. Some will notice change without understanding it. That is okay. Your clarity does not require consensus. Archangel Michael says you are moving into a season where your presence will bring calm to situations without effort. Not because you fix things, but because your groundedness stabilizes the environment. This is influence at its purest form. You may feel moments of gratitude rising unexpectedly. Gratitude for what did not happen. Gratitude for what was revealed. Gratitude for protection you did not have to fight for. Let that gratitude flow. It seals wisdom into memory. Beloved child, you are not returning to who you were before the warning. You are moving forward as someone who has integrated the lesson. There is no going back to ignorance, but there is peace in awareness. Archangel Michael reminds you that this journey did not isolate you. It refined you. It did not harden you. It clarified you. It did not delay your life. It aligned it. As you stand here now, there is nothing you need to rush to do. No immediate action required. This is a moment to stand firmly where you are and recognize that the ground beneath you is stable. The final movement of this message will not bring new information. It will bring confirmation. Confirmation that what you sensed was real. Confirmation that what was stopped will not return. Confirmation that what is opening ahead is safe to enter. Remain steady. Remain open. The path is clear now, and you are ready to walk it without fear, without urgency, and without looking back. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks with finality and peace, because this chapter is closing completely. What began as a warning now ends as confirmation. You are no longer standing at the edge of something uncertain. You are standing on solid ground, with clarity beneath your feet and authority within your spirit. Archangel Michael says the danger did not just pass, it lost access. What was once able to reach toward you can no longer touch your life, your mind, or your future. Doors that were quietly opened without your awareness have now been sealed by truth. This sealing is permanent because it came through discernment, not fear. You may feel a deep sense of closure now. Not dramatic relief, but settled peace. This is how divine endings feel. There is no chaos, no confusion, no lingering tension. Just knowing. Knowing that something is over. Knowing that you are safe. Knowing that you listened in time. Beloved, this experience has marked you, not with trauma, but with wisdom. You will never again ignore subtle warnings. You will never again dismiss inner nudges as imagination. You have learned how heaven communicates with you personally. That knowledge cannot be taken from you. Archangel Michael says from this moment forward, your life moves with a different rhythm. You will not rush into situations the way you once did. You will not tolerate hidden agendas disguised as concern. You will not shrink your discernment to make others comfortable. This is not hardness. This is maturity. There is also a deep strengthening of trust happening now. Trust in divine timing. Trust in protection. Trust in your own ability to listen and respond. This trust will guide you in future moments when clarity is needed quickly. You are equipped. Beloved child, take a moment to reflect on what did not happen. The conversations that never unfolded. Losses that never occurred. The confusion that never fully formed. This is evidence of intervention. Gratitude for unseen rescue anchors humility and confidence together. Archangel Michael stands not as a warrior now, but as a witness. A witness to your growth. A witness to your obedience. A witness to the moment you chose awareness over fear. That choice shifted everything. What comes next in your life will not be built on survival. It will be built on stability. Decisions will come from peace. Opportunities will arrive without pressure. Relationships will form without manipulation. This is the fruit of discernment. Beloved, do not look for signs of danger anymore. Look for signs of alignment. Ease without compromise. Progress without anxiety. Silence that feels safe. These are your new indicators. If at any moment you question whether this was real, remember how peace replaced tension. Remember how clarity replaced confusion. Remember how you feel now. Peace does not lie. Archangel Michael says this message ends, but guidance does not. Protection does not. Alignment does not. You are not walking alone, but you are walking free. Type I receive divine closure in the comments if your spirit confirms this ending. Blessing code 2026 is now released over you. And now receive this final word as an extension of everything you have just heard. I am speaking to you personally. When Archangel Michael intervenes minutes before harm, it is because souls matter. This message continues only because obedient hearts choose to keep the light flowing. Scripture declares that those who sow into the work of God will see their harvest overtake them. And this is not symbolic. It is alive right now. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are responding prophetically, not financially. Your support places oil in the lamp that warns others before the door closes. I bless every giver with protection over their household, clarity in every decision, and peace that cannot be shaken. Do not delay this act of obedience. Support the mission now, and let heaven record your name among those who answered the call.